Okay, hello everyone. Thanks, Borja, for the introduction, the long introduction. Um, I will quickly jump into the today's talk, um, which is related to a work that we have performed in a project called EuroComp, which is actually in the same core topic as Laurent presented, Recreate, and deals with recycling and circularity approaches in large composite structures. So a few words about our laboratory, the R Nanolab. It's located in the Attica region with two facilities. The main ones are located in the School of the Chemical Engineering in Athens, in Zographou campus. And we also have some equipment located in the Technological and Cultural Park of Lavrio, which is in the south. Our lab is directed by Professor Kostas Charitidis, with three other professors involved, and many researchers, postdocs, and PhD candidates. If you want to find more about our lab, you can visit the website. The three main pillars of activities of our nano are related with the composite materials and circularity, which is part of today's talk, in thermoplastics processing and recycling, and on the synthesis and development of materials, which is actually the first expertise of our lab 15 years ago. About our capabilities in terms of composite materials and carbon fibers. So we have some pilot lines starting from the stabilization of precursor fibers. We are now setting up the continuous line of carbonization with another oven that comes parallel with the stabilization ovens. And we also have equipment related with the surface treatment and sizing of fibers. So we have designed and built these two lines. The first one is for the surface treatment of carbon fibers with polymers that we have investigated that improve the interfacial shear strength with the matrices of the composites. And then we have the pilot scale sizing line, which I will present you today and some of our results. And I also found very interesting the talk from Miss June before. We have some European projects which we are taking advantage of these equipment, and especially EuroComp, where I will show you the results of today. In terms of circularity, we have some similar processes with what the previous participants has presented, like pyrolytic process or solvolysis. And specifically for solvolysis, we can do either in ambient conditions and also at high pressure, where we can do supercritical solvolysis. All of this, of course, has the meaning to reclaim fibers in their optimal state. And with some modifications, surface treatment on sizing to improve their mechanical properties. So I've talked about EuroComp. So EuroComp is a project that is at the third out of the 4 years and has to do with recycling or circularity in the composite material sector. So starting from the end-of-life materials, either wind turbine blades or parts coming from aircraft or automotive, we have a series of techniques that follow and study dismantling, separation, and sorting. And then based on the condition of these materials, we have two different routes that we choose to follow. It's either recycling if the part is not in an optimal condition, or repair and reuse if the part can be reused as it is, or with some small repair mechanism. So more specifically in the route of recycling, we study the different solvolysis methods that exist right now, supercritical solvolysis or chemical assist solvolysis, but also plasma solvolysis. I will talk about this in a few. minutes. And in the end, with the recycled fibers, we are going to make some demonstrators coming with different manufacturing methods: filament winding, compression molding, additive manufacturing, on infusion, and different parts to demonstrate the applications that the secondary lives that we can give to those recycled materials. So about the technical stuff that I'm going to talk about today are related with the recycling process, the solvolysis, the scaling, the pilot scale sizing, and then characterizations, like we saw also in the previous presenters. So here we have two very good partners, which are experts on recycling with solvolysis. The first partner comes from University of Patras, the Plasma Technology Lab, where they do the plasma sheet solvolysis, and the second partner comes from the Silesian University of Technology, which are involved with the chemically assisted solvolysis. We all start from these tubular specimens that come from BT composites in Florina, and they are produced with filament winding. And these parts are made out of continuous fiber, so there are no cuts. They are specifically designed to have carbon fibers continuous from one point to the other. So the idea is with this plasma reactor and this ambient conditions reactor, using different solvents. For example, in plasma we have the nitric acid, and here we have polyethylene glycol as solvents to reclaim continuous carbon fibers. So here you see how the parts looks like after the retrieval from the reactors. And then after winding, we can have the continuous spool. So up to now, we have been capable to recycle parts that contain more than 200 meters of continuous fiber, and it soon, on the Q1 of 2025, we will recycle and reclaim parts that continue 1.2 kilometers of continuous fiber. Then comes the pilot scale carbon fiber sizing line, which is depicted in this slide here. So starting from the right, we have the krill where we mount the recycled spool. Then there is this first furnace where we situationally turn it on, and this situation has to do with the condition of the recycled fiber. If it contains excess resin, then we need to remove this by applying heat on the fibers. If they are clear from residues, we don't need to activate this. Then we have this bath where the fiber gets impregnated, and through this nip roller, the excess is squeezed out and returned back into the bath. Then we have this the second furnace where we do the drying of the fiber. We evaporate the solvent and we consolidate the sizing material, the solids. Then this omega shape fixture determines the speed of the line, and over here on the far left we have the winder where we do the winding in another spool, in a new spool. So as you understand, this pilot line works with a single krill, and it can have production rate of up to 2 meters per minute, which is quite good. Then some results, some technical results. So we've seen before, we see now how the fibers look like on the virgin fibers look like under the microscope, and with the EDX analyzer, we can adjust, we can determine the carbon or the oxygen content. So it's an indication. Besides the morphological indication, we can also have a quantitative information about the presence of resins, since we know that carbon fibers are mostly made out of carbon with a very low content of oxygen, which is related only on the particles that exist on the surface from the surface treatment. So here we see we have some contact, some visual contact with residues that come from some parts from the chemically recycled fiber, and we can also confirm this from the EDX analysis. And this affects the morphology of the fiber after the sizing. So we see that there are some residues even after the sizing. However, both processes showed very good results, and these are just some parts that we chose to show you to show you how a non 100% clean fiber looks like. So moving forward, we wanted to assess the structural integrity of the fiber after the solvolysis. So if we noticed any considerable amount of decrease in the weight after, I don't know, 600 or 700 degrees, then this means that the solvolysis process would affect the structural properties of the fibers. And this is not the case here. We only see some slight decrease, approximately in the range of 250 to 400 Celsius, which is related with the removal of the sizing that we apply or any resin residue that is there on the surface. Then we wanted to quantify the amount of filaments that we lose after the recycling process, and this is something that we did with the Technical University of Dresden. I have just put these two images here to show you how different a good polycene would looks like on the second picture. We see that these white spots, I don't want to zoom in because I will lose the slides, but these white spots represent single fibers, and you see here that with 10 minutes less, we have these black speckles here, which would affect our counting, fiber count. So you can visit this site here to check about our scripts that we developed in Python. And as you see, we tried 3 different approaches with the Olympus software, the Microsoft software, with the ImageJ, and with the Python. The Olympus software failed miserably, unfortunately, due to the fact that it cannot track adjacent fibers. ImageJ was a very decent approach. However, it is a manual, so that means that you need manual handling the software to get results for single image. But when we mimicked the ImageJ approach on Python and we wrote our own script, we were able to copy the algorithms that ImageJ does, and by 1 or 2 minutes have all the results that we needed on our monitors. And in the end, I wanted to show you some of the tensile tests that we have done until now. So the tensile properties, ideally, we wanted to remain unaffected after the solvolysis. However, we see here, when compared to the reference sample, that we have a decrease of approximately 18 to 20%. And these are tensile tests on carbon fiber bundles. We also did on single carbon fibers. Okay. And then we did the sizing with a pilot scale sizing line, and this completely changed the picture due to the fact that the rod became more uniform, and the fibers, due to the tension that we also apply on the sizing, acquire the required parallel to the axis of loading. So this way we see that in the end we have approximately 10% decrease on the sized recycled fibers, which actually is a result that is consistent with the previous speaker. So this gives us extra motivation that we're doing a good work. So as Yoon said, the ideal would be to test the ILSS, interfacial shear strength, or interlaminar shear strength, and we plan to do this in the following months by a pull-out test with an nano-indentation, or we're also going to make some composites and do short beam test. With this test, we determine the ILSS. With a pull-out, we do the IFSS. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. I try to stay in time since we finish in approximately 1 minute. I would like to thank the colleagues who together we performed all this analysis, and also the partners from EuroComp, University of Patras, TUD, and Silesian for their collaboration. So thank you very much. Hope you liked the presentation.